Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Lunch and Learn here at Decisions. I'm just going to give everybody a couple minutes to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's give everybody a couple more minutes to join. So how's everybody doing on this Monday morning? We're happy to have you, Orlando. So right now, I don't see the person who pre-submitted the question actually on the call yet. So I'm going to give that person a few minutes to join and might answer that question a little later. So I want to open it up to anybody else who's on the call, see if there's any questions they might have. Please feel free to raise your hand, put the question in the Q&A or a chat, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Well, completely open it up to any questions anybody might have. If nobody has another question here in a minute. Oh, hello, Manuel. You're on the call. Great. I don't know why you're not showing up in attendee either. Maybe it's something that Maria or Serena. Maybe you can exit and come back in, Manuel, and then we'll be able to answer that question here in a second. Okay? So I want you all to see, make sure you can see everything as we answer that question. So, David, I saw you raised your hand. So, do you want to go and ask your question first so we can figure out why Manuel's having a little issue with his Zoom today?
Sure. I think we had experienced this in the past, and I guess since it just came up, I'm curious about it. Whenever the clock changes to daylight savings time, I think like if you have decisions installed, I guess locally or on-prem, right? Like it's not hosted by you guys.
Right.
Um, that instance, the clock would, assuming they have the time to auto update, it would auto update, but it's almost like decisions wouldn't know that, and like a scheduled job or something would be running an hour behind or an hour ahead, until you went in and restarted the service host manager. Like, is that still a thing, or is there something that can be done to mitigate that? Maybe, I don't know, set a scheduled job for whenever daylight savings time happens, to say, okay, I want to do it at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., whatever, after it happens, to restart the service host manager.
And this is the first I'm hearing about this issue, David. So, there's a couple different ways to attack this. I can tell you that, hopefully the U.S. and government gets in where they get rid of daylight savings time or go to it directly.
Yeah, we can hope, right?
We can hope. That's a topic not for this conversation now. But there's a couple different ways to approach it. Like you said, have a scheduled job for daylight savings time, or have a schedule for non-daylight savings time. Or since you're probably self-hosted, you also could use UTC and have that server not support daylight savings time. Or you could look at in your scheduled job, you could have your scheduled job run at a more frequent time, like every hour, and check the real time of the server. If the server time equals this, then run. So in your scheduled job, you make it for every hour, and then and have a rule out there what checks. Okay, is this time actually 2 a.m. or 1 a.m.? If not, you don't run. If it is, you run.
Oh, I see. Okay, because there should be a step to be able to get server time, right?
Yep.
I see. Okay, I got you.
You can fetch current time. Yes.
And that fetches current time from the actual server clock, not what the SHM thinks it is.
So if you look right here, go ahead and go into system, advanced, studio. I need uptime. Let me find this step. I don't need the uptime. Where's this? Is it clients get in time? Because there's a step. Let me just look for it here. Get system uptime, get start time. Might be internal services, but there's a step right there that you can actually pull in to get current time. And that current time step will allow you to actually go in there and actually have that. I can't search this, but I know there's I think it might be studio settings. But you can just ask support about it. Is it
Yeah,
settings?
sure.
Get title, get time zone list. But there's a way to get the time from the server.
Yeah, isn't there a thing in I think it may be in integrations, or and I can't remember if it's there or internal services or something, where there's like a server service that you can do a couple of things
Yes.
to get it from there, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that, and I just unfortunately can't find it right now.
Cool.
But that's the way I would do it. So there's a couple ways to do it.
Okay.
But hopefully with what you're in version 6, I guess because you're using SHM, right?
Yeah.
If you move up to 7 and 8, we install a little differently there. So it might be that might not be an issue if you move up to 7 or 8.
Interesting. Okay. Is that using something different? It's not using the service host manager anymore?
We actually create our own service.
Okay.
This is version 8. I mean, here, and it actually creates its own service. Okay. So, any other questions, David?
Nope, that's it.
There's a couple different ways to attack that. So you can either attack it, create that where it just fetches the current time and the rule just looks at it. You can run it every hour, or you can create a schedule that says, okay, this job is active from this date to this date, and this job active from this date to this date. You can do it two ways. You can do it that way also. You can have it where it didn't pick the date, it picks what the current date is. If the current date is this, you run it at the 1 a.m. time, and then the other you run at 2 a.m. So you have to change the time on the service host manager. There's a couple different ways to look at it.
Okay. And should be able to configure that scheduled job to do it at, I forget, because the date changes, right? It's always like the second Sunday in November, second Sunday in April, whatever it is.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. Cool. All right. Well, thanks a bunch. Appreciate it.
All right. So, do we ever figure out Manuel's issue? I'm gonna see if you can you Maroos chat with Manuel, see if we can get him on the call so we can talk to him about his issue.
Yeah, let me get a hold of her.
Okay. In Orlando, I'm gonna go and answer your question. Let's see right here. So your question is, well, welcome to Decisions. We're happy to have you. This is a pretty basic question. How would I go about creating a simple form in a flow to output data on something like a database? So what you're trying to do is be able to take a flow and write stuff to a database, correct? Okay. So what you can do is I'm gonna simply create a flow right here and call. If I want to create a form, one second. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have a form. I'm just gonna create one little piece of item here. Call it name. So when I have a form right here, now does your database, do you have you completed database integration yet? Or do you know how to do a database integration? So what you can do for any database you might have, you can go into our database integration table, which is in the data types and integration. You can add a procedure, add a table, add a query, or you can go down into our settings file in integration and actually integrate it to create a new database integration, which can be MySQL, Oracle, or Azure, Postgres, whatever, or even OBDC. So you can actually create a database to database integration, which allows you to simply create that type of connection right here where you can pull the tables in. And that allows you to say, okay, I can do a test right here. And it allows you to create that. Yes, you can create a data integration to a database inside of Decisions. And to do that, let me go back into here, go back into my flows. You can simply create right here is a data type, user defined types. So these are all different data types, which hopefully you can go through training and find out, they're used for different things. But if you just hit define data structure, this literally is just creating a table. So I can simply create a table and call this example table. And then it has a name. That's my field right here. And I create a simple database table. And then I can simply, on my form is now, if I go into my, as you see right here, my types are here. I can go into my all steps, go down to my user defined types. I go to my database structures. You can see I have quite a few built in here. And I can simply go down here to test. Apparently I named it wrong. I just select another one of these. And then I simply click create. That simply creates the item right here. And I can simply build the data right here and have the data actually built here in real time. And to show you how that works, I simply go now to my query editor. I can look at all my tables. And I can go down right here as my data structure on that table. And then I'm just going to be then right here, I can see all the results. I only have one result in this table, but you can see right here, it creates a table right here on the fly. So you have full flexibility, to create your data types here on the fly. You can see right here's my sandbox test, which is, and then right here, you can see right here where you can have, it doesn't have to be one thing. Let me take away the top one. And right here, this one has nothing in it. But you can see right here where then you create these database types on the fly. They can store stuff inside decisions in the database there. So hopefully that answers your question, Orlando. And feel free, once you get involved more, reach out to support. They can help you, or you come back to Lunch and Learn because they're, Monday through Thursday, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. They can jump on a call and work through more of those issues you might have, Orlando, once you get past the first step. There's also some good documentation in YouTube, so you can go into our YouTube videos. If you'll look at data types, data structures right here, there's a good video on YouTube about data structures here also. You also can go to our support channel. We have a decision support channel for YouTube, which has all the Lunch and Learns. So you can go back and review those also. And of course, we also have a lovely documentation site. So you can simply go there and search in data structures right here and see how to start data structures, read about them, and create all the data structures you have here too, Orlando. So you have all three sources, plus you can reach out to support or come to Lunch and Learn to see more data, see more information about these. I don't think Manuel is able to rejoin. Hopefully you'll be able to join here in a few minutes. I'll open up if there's any more questions we might have. Please feel free to ask me any question. I almost feel like I'm on a call with my team. My team's just like you guys. They sit on the call quietly. But please feel free to ask me any question you might have. I'm happy to answer any question. And just so everybody knows on the call today, Manuel's question was, how do I clone a form as a user action with having input data in the form? I need more user context around that to really answer that question. Or is it a case entity? Is it an entity? Is it a flow execution extension? Or is it what type of data you're trying to input and what type of action you're trying to take? Is it an entity, a case entity, a flow execution extension, a folder extension, database structure? Really, what type of action you're trying to take off what different data structure? Because that would answer the question differently. Because just for example, if I go in here and have a case entity, if I go into my insurance and have a case entity, which I have right here. Right here is my entity right here. 1 second. Is my execution right here. I have an entity right here that can add states into and be able to add in visibility rules. So it all depends on what type of entity you're looking for. So it really depends on what type of action you're looking for here, what type of data you're looking for. Is there any other questions we might have? Yes, David.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, if we were gonna want to make the jump from 6 to 8, is there anything, I guess, off the top of your head, advice for doing that or things to watch out for? Because it sounds like it may be oh, okay, there's documentation on it. Okay.
We have documentation, so you just go to our release notes section of documentation side,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
can tell you, do you use multi-tenancy or you use?
No, we're not multi-tenant.
Okay, so right here are some things right here in considerations. Of course,
I
as 8 evolves, this will be changing. So right now this is 8.0, but 8.1 is coming, so this all might change. But as you can see right here, you can see all of the stuff right here that's required for upgrading from 6.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's awesome. Oh wow. Okay.
And any questions around there, David? Because every install is a little different. I'd reach out to support or your customer success manager and reach
Yeah.
out to them and ask them any questions you might have specifically around your project or your installation.
Interesting. Okay. All right, I'll look through that.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's what I was going to ask too. If you have time for another couple of them.
Absolutely.
I was going to try to do, I guess, a couple of PowerShell scripts that I can, and a PowerShell script project that I can then, deploy to a client, have them do that. Talking to some of our other people, just internally, they said, well, some clients just, uninstall and disable through however PowerShell because they don't like it because it's a pretty powerful tool. So
Yep.
somebody could do a lot of damage with that. If I install the PowerShell module in decisions, like does that is that predicated on the fact that PowerShell is already installed and existing on that machine, or basically does it act as its own package and do what it needs to do? Like if I create the PowerShell project and the script and install it in decisions, would it still run even if they've uninstalled it from the machine? Does it make any sense?
It does. So I'm gonna post some links in the channel just so you can get the channel with the video. And I think the module still requires to look at the module documentation because I'm not 100% sure. PowerShell only supports remote connections. It doesn't look like it. It runs like it runs a script. It doesn't look like it requires PowerShell to be installed, but this is something I have to check on. So to ask the question to support at decisions.com, chat
Okay.
with them. I don't see it in the documentation that it's required, but
Okay.
I've never
Yeah.
tested it.
Okay. We may try to just test it out locally, and I'll put a support ticket to it because when our internal resources told me that, I said, well, okay, if that's the case, then I may have to just redo these as like to try to do it through the command line or something to do what I want to do, which I guess was another question. Is there a step? Is there a step to just execute a command line script, like a batch file or something like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I found one in there, but it almost looked like it was,
There is a command line step, it's called.
yeah, it was almost like it was specifically dealing with a file because it had a paper clip on it.
So you can execute command.
Yeah, I think this was the one. Okay.
Say there's a command line on file. So there's a file thing right here that you can run. There's execute command, which actually executes the command.
Okay, so it's called execute command. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, I think that helps.
Yep.
I think
So
I'll go
execute command line program runs it on a specific file. That's where you see the paper clip. There's also execute command.
execute command is what I'm probably looking for.
Yep.
Okay.
And of course it can be async or synchronously.
Okay, got it. Yeah, we'll test it and I'll submit that support ticket about the PowerShell thing. I guess what triggered my mind when our internal resource told us about that some clients, uninstall it, block it, whatever. I said, okay, well, how else can I do this? Maybe I can do it through the command line. And then I saw there was I guess there's a Python module too, but it doesn't ever say anything about having to install anything to be able to run a Python script. So I was like,
Python, you definitely have to install to run it. I know that for a fact.
oh, okay.
I know that one for a fact. I've actually tested and worked with Python before. You have to install the Python libraries to be able to run Python scripts.
Oh, okay. So if I just install the decisions module, that's not enough. I have to have.
Yep. For PowerShell, for Python, yes. Or
Oh,
R.
okay. That kind of discourages me from going that route. So, okay. Cool. I'll move forward with that. Appreciate it.
These are all great questions. Is there any more questions we might have today? Well, there's no more questions. I think we are good to call it a day. Right? Let's see. There's anything else I need to show?
No, so far so good. If anybody is okay with what we've shown and they don't have any more questions, then we'll go ahead and close the call and we'll see everybody else tomorrow.
All right, everyone have a great rest of your Monday. Hope everybody has a good holiday weekend this weekend that's coming up. And thank you for using Decisions. And please feel free to reach out to support or join in our Lunch and Learn. Everyone have a great day.